Cereal time, cereal time, cereal time, whoa.
Time to make the donut.
Dunkin Iced Latte.
Love Dunkin', guys.
What's up, cereal heads? Today we're going to talk about two brand new cereals from Dunkin Donuts, new Caramel Macchiato and Mocha Latte. Now these two cereals aren't officially out yet. They'll be hitting stores in August, so keep your eyes peeled. And it seems like there are new cereals coming out every couple weeks now. Every time I want to do a video about an old classic or forgotten cereal, a brand new cereal hits the market and I have to do a video for that one instead. But hey, with cool new cereals like this, I don't really mind. There'll always be time to cover the older discontinued cereals. And speaking of older discontinued cereals, we can't really discuss these new Dunkin' cereals without mentioning the original Dunkin' Donuts cereal from 1988. This original Dunkin' Donuts cereal was released by Ralston back in 1988, and it came in two flavors, chocolate and glaze style. The cereal came in 3 donut-shaped pieces. I did a video about this one a while back, so if you want to know more about that cereal, go take a look at that video. Now, these new Dunkin' cereals aren't based on Dunkin' Donuts. Instead, they're based on famous Dunkin' coffee, or iced coffee in this case. And you can see right there on the front of the box, it says these cereals are made with Dunkin' coffee. Now that in of itself is a unique and special idea for cereal. Sure, there was Mocha Crunch from General Mills back in 2017, but that cereal didn't use real coffee in it. There have been other smaller niche brands that have tried using real coffee in cereal before, but this is the first major cereal brand to include coffee, or at least coffee concentrate, as an ingredient. Now, according to the info sheet that Post sent along with these cereals, they only contain about 1/10 of a cup of coffee in each cereal. So people worried about their caffeine intake shouldn't be that concerned. This cereal barely contains any coffee at all. Now let's take a closer look at both of these boxes. First up, Caramel Macchiato. Now right off the bat, I guess I should probably tell you that I don't like coffee. I've probably had the equivalent of about 5 cups of coffee my entire lifetime, so I'm the least qualified person to talk to you about iced coffee drinks. I don't really know what's in a Caramel Macchiato. I can assume from the pictures I found of the drink online and this picture of it here that it's probably just brewed espresso with lots of milk, maybe some condensed milk, some high fructose corn syrup, some caramel flavoring or caramel syrup, and some whipped cream. Basically, it's just like a cup of diabetes. But I'm sure they're very popular and probably taste delicious to iced coffee drinkers. They wouldn't have made a cereal out of this drink if it wasn't a Dunkin' Donuts customer favorite. And while we're discussing this Caramel Macchiato cereal, we have to flash back 2 years ago to when the news of this cereal was first leaked. Here's what the original mock-up box looked like. You can see on the front of this box that "with caffeine" was printed there in big letters. Now, after a year went by and we had never seen the release of this cereal, I kind of just figured that Post shelved the idea. But maybe they were just perfecting the formula and taste. Or maybe they were just waiting for Dunkin' Donuts to go through the rebranding of changing the name to just Dunkin', as you can see how it's prominently displayed here on the front of this box. Alright, now let's switch over to the Mocha Latte box. Again, I have no idea what a Mocha Latte consists of or tastes like, but I assume it's fairly similar to the Caramel Macchiato with chocolate subbed out for caramel. And I will say that the iced coffees on these boxes do look pretty delicious. I love the boxes for these cereals with the half iced coffee drink there and the half bowl of cereal. And of course the classic Dunkin' Donuts colors of bright orange and bright pink magenta. You can take a closer look at the cereal on the front of the boxes here. It appears that both cereals are made up of Cocoa Puff-like pieces and brown and white swirled marshmallows. The caramel puffs might be a little lighter in color, but we'll see in a second when we open them up. But first, we have one more thing to check out before we dig in and try these new cereals, and that of course is the back of the boxes here. I always love when a company puts effort into the back of their boxes with games or activities or little fun facts that you can read while eating a bowl of the cereal. Let's take a look at the back of this Caramel Macchiato box. They do a brief history of Dunkin' Donuts, hitting all the greatest hits. The first store opening was in 1948 in Quincy, Massachusetts, called Open Kettle. 2 years later, they changed the name to Dunkin' Donuts. 1955, they signed a franchise agreement. Japan gets its first franchise in 1970. The amazing Munchkin donut holes were released in 1972. And then 10 years later, Fred the Baker makes his debut as the mascot or spokesperson. They started adding breakfast sandwiches to the menu in 1997. And the coffee really starts flowing in 2003 with a new line of espressos, lattes, and cappuccinos. 3 years later, they start the new slogan of "America runs on Dunkin'." 2011, they open their 10,000th store. The macchiato joins the beverage lineup in 2015. So it's relatively new. Then last year, they rebranded their name to just Dunkin' because they do more than just donuts. And then that brings us to today and the release of this new cereal. Now let's take a look at the back of this Mocha Latte box. This one doesn't have the same timeline history, but instead just offers some fun facts about Dunkin' Donuts. It says Dunkin' has been serving coffee for 70 years. They sell 2 billion donuts worldwide every year. Espresso Day is November 23rd. Dunkin' has coffee experts taste 200 cups of coffee every day. There are 12,800 locations worldwide. Macchiato is brewed espresso, cold milk, and a swirl of caramel flavor. Mocha Latte is brewed espresso combined with cold milk and served over ice. I think they're leaving out the chocolate there, but whatever. And lastly, the word espresso means forced out in Italian. Alright, enough fun facts and history. You've waited long enough. Let's open up this stuff and take a look. So here's what a bowl of new Dunkin Mocha Latte cereal looks like. You can see the little chocolate Cocoa Puff pieces and the Marbits with their light brown swirls. There's a little dusting of something on these Cocoa Puff pieces. There's definitely a coffee scent coming off of this stuff though. Let's hit them with some milk and give them a try. Wow, that's pretty good. As I mentioned, I don't like coffee, and as you might know from watching the cereal, I'm not a huge chocolate cereal fan. But this stuff is pretty tasty. I actually don't mind an artificial coffee flavor. I sometimes enjoy coffee ice cream from time to time. And while this doesn't taste like coffee ice cream necessarily, it has a good balance of flavor to it. The coffee flavor isn't super strong. It's got a nice chocolate flavor to it as well. And the marshmallows add a fun and sweet texture. It's a pretty tasty combo. Does it taste like a mocha latte? Well, I have no idea. But it's definitely a unique chocolatey coffee cereal and way better than that Mocha Crunch cereal from General Mills a couple years ago. And of course, you can't have an iced coffee cereal without trying the milk afterwards, right? Again, that's pretty good. All right, now it's time for this caramel macchiato. So here's what a bowl of Dunkin's caramel macchiato cereal looks like. You can see that the Cocoa Puff pieces are slightly lighter in color than the Mocha Latte. They're still brown, but just not as dark chocolatey brown, which is good because this cereal doesn't have cocoa in it. So it shouldn't look like a chocolate cereal. It should look more like a caramel cereal. Let's hit them with some milk and give them a try. Wow, I think I like this one even better. It's got a nice sweet caramel flavor to it, and I can barely taste that little bit of coffee in there, which is good for somebody like me who doesn't love coffee. The marshmallows add that sort of whipped cream element to it. Yeah, this one is definitely my favorite of the two. Just entertain yourself for a second while I eat some more. And I'm sure the milk for this stuff is just as delicious. Sweet caramel milk. So 2 more successful cereals from Post. Unique flavors that we haven't really seen in cereal before. These awesome boxes. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, Post sent me this cool But First cereal and a spoon with the slogan engraved on it. And they also sent me 2 bowls in matching Dunkin Donuts colors with little straws in them so you can drink the coffee milk when you're finished with the cereal. So thanks for hooking me up with all that swag, Post, but the real star of the little care package was the cereal. Now I like the caramel macchiato flavor a little bit more than the mocha latte, but they're both pretty delicious. The one thing I do find interesting about these cereals is that they're not really marketed to kids, right? I mean, kids don't really drink coffee or get caramel macchiatos or mocha lattes from Dunkin Donuts. And usually if you see a sugary cereal on shelves, it's marketed to kids. That's their main demographic. But maybe 18 to 34-year-olds are buying more cereal these days. I guess we'll see how well this stuff sells. Maybe if it does well, Post will continue to pair with Dunkin and release more donut-themed cereals as well. Do you have a favorite donut from Dunkin that you'd like to see as a cereal? Let me know down in the comments. All right, that's gonna do it for these new Dunkin cereals. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, stay crunchy.
The major problem is capitalism, of course. We see its splinter effects everywhere: police brutality, bad housing, bad schools, bad food, profits rising, etc., etc. So here we can see that the problem is the capitalist system.